Ever since the Nintendo Switch launched in 2017, I've been clamoring for Activision to release a Call of Duty game on it. Several years have come and gone, and now even smartphones have Call of Duty. I'm not sure what the holdup is, but you'd think with over 55 million consoles sold, Activision would want to get in on the action. Without Call of Duty, it's left this strange power vacuum on the Switch. It's the Wild West on the eShop, and as a result, we get games like Warface. Warface is a free-to-play first-person shooter that many have described as dollar store Call of Duty. The meat and potatoes of this game is the traditional multiplayer. There's Team Deathmatch, free-for-all, search and destroy, domination, and a few other modes. The maps aren't super memorable, but there's a good variety in the environments you'll be fighting in. A lot of games fall victim to the trap of having all the maps look extremely similar, and I'm happy to report that that's not the case here. I do have a few criticisms of the gameplay. The engine feels a little on the clunky side, and this is definitely the type of game where you absolutely need fluid, smooth movement. You don't feel like you're in complete control of your character, even with the gyro controls. There's also this weird mechanic where you can only climb over certain objects if a teammate gets in position and presses the right button. It's there to encourage teamwork, but it makes parts of the map inaccessible if your teammates aren't there to help you out. One of the more noticeable issues I ran into is that Team Deathmatch ends at 150 kills, which makes matches take way too long. Towards the end of some of the longer matches, I felt numb. I couldn't remember what my life was like before I'd gotten myself into this game that I wasn't enjoying. I considered running away from it all, buying a cabin in rural Pennsylvania, and never playing a video game again. Graphically, it looks okay, but it won't be winning any awards. It runs at 540p in handheld mode and 720p docked, oddly targeting 40 frames per second instead of a more standard 30 or 60. In comparison, most of the CODs on the 360 ran at 600p, targeting a much smoother 60 frames a second. They also looked better than this game. The weapons don't feel accurate at all, and some of the best ones are locked behind currency you have to buy with real money. The weapons you earn for free are all temporary and have timers counting down to when they disappear from your inventory. It never feels great when a game uses this outdated free-to-play mechanic, which dates this game back to its 2012 roots. This was a time when game developers were tinkering with sketchy ways to make money off of free games, especially today in the era of Fortnite, Warzone, and COD Mobile, all of which cost nothing to play and still manage to keep an even playing field by only selling cosmetic items like characters and weapon camos. I might be able to forgive this game if it was actually fun to play, but the engine feels clunky and slow, and that just ruins the whole thing. There's also some co-op modes where you get together with a couple of friends or randoms and go on short missions against AI enemies. Nothing too groundbreaking or memorable, but it's something to do. It even has Battle Royale. But instead of the massive 150-player battles of Call of Duty Warzone, it has a whopping 32. That's right, there are fewer players on this map than there are in an Uber pool. To add insult to injury, the wait to get into a Battle Royale game can be lengthy. Once you get started, it's kind of fun. You scramble to find a box that has a weapon and then hunt down your enemies as the circle of death closes in. The games take less than 5 minutes, which is way less time than it takes to find a match, so it kind of feels like it's not worth the effort. And the whole time, all I could think about was how I could be playing COD instead. In fact, earlier, when I was doing research for this video to find out what resolution COD ran at on the 360, I realized I was having more fun typing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 resolution Xbox 360 into Google than I did playing this game. If you're dying for a great, addicting first-person shooter on the Switch, hopefully you're flexible on the great and addicting. If you're specifically looking for a competitive first-person shooter similar to Call of Duty, there aren't any good ones on the Switch. If it's portability you're after, download Call of Duty Mobile on your phone. It feels a lot like the console versions, it's a lot of fun to play, and they're consistently adding content to keep you hooked. As for Warface, if you absolutely must have a Call of Duty style game and don't have any other consoles, it gets bonus points for being one of the few around. Otherwise, this military shooter gets a court-martial. Sorry.